Kitco Mining's special coverage of Xplor 2023 is brought to you by Radisson Mining Resources.
Welcome back to Kitco Mining's ongoing coverage of Xplor 2023 in Montreal. Our next guest is Zach Flood, President and CEO of Kenorland Minerals, a Canadian exploration company with projects concentrated in Canada and Alaska. Zach, welcome.
Thank you.
So Kenorland's projects are situated in some of the best mining jurisdictions in the world. How important is that for you as a business?
Yeah, I think it's one of our kind of primary criteria is you need to be in a place where you can develop a mine if you find something. So, I think there's enough hurdles as is and enough risks associated with exploration that we'd like to at least minimize that one. So, sticking to, areas like Quebec and Ontario and, Manitoba, Alaska, generally mining-friendly jurisdictions is part of our strategy.
And how is the exploration business in Canada in 2023, broadly speaking?
Yeah, well, it's really ramped up with the critical metal push. A lot of money going into the lithium exploration. So there's been, a huge number of claims staked and a lot more competition out there for ground, for those commodities in particular. But I don't know. I'd say otherwise, like the gold space has been pretty, status quo. Nothing too exciting happening out there. Really, it's just been a big focus on critical metals for the industry as a whole, I think.
Right. Well, we're going to circle back to some of your flagship projects and some of the pipeline projects as well. I just wanted to get a sense of your business strategy, because you are divided, as you said, between the precious metals side and you have some critical metals as well in there. So you have three components. You've got the exploration partnerships, and this includes options to joint venture. You have the equity or royalty generation side, and you've also got sole fund exploration, which is, I guess, entirely owned by Kenorland. Can you walk us through that mix? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, well, we're trying to expose our shareholders to as much exploration as possible. Obviously, we can't raise all that money ourselves. I mean, this year we're spending about $35 million on the ground. About 29 of that's from partnerships. So last year was around the same numbers there. So I think by the end of this year, we'll have operated or executed on about $100 million of early stage exploration since inception at Kenorland. So it's a huge amount of money to raise for a small company. So we look for creative ways to finance that, and that's through these partnerships with major mining companies, either the option to joint venture, or sometimes we work with other juniors. And in those cases, sometimes we're just vending out a project on a 100% basis for a large equity position, and always retaining a royalty on the back end, in case you do find something or those companies find something. There's a lot of value in that too. So just trying to be creative. And again, I think it's really about exposing our shareholders to as much exploration as possible. At the end of the day, mineral exploration is a bit of a numbers game. The more ground you cover, the more targets you test, I'd say the higher the odds are for success. So we're kind of playing the odds in that sense. And we've got about 1.5 million hectares of ground that we're working in all these jurisdictions. It's a lot of ground to cover. So looking for alternative financing instruments, or deals is definitely, again, part of our strategy.
All right. And when you're spinning out a project that someone else can develop, what are the criteria? What are you looking for in a team to partner with in that type of a venture?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think we really need to be aligned with any company we're working with in terms of our exploration strategy. Like typically we're on the earlier stage, earlier side of the spectrum. So grassroots, programs require, a significant amount of capital. It takes, there's a longer lead time to drill targets too. So you have to be patient. You got to be committed. You got to have a vision for what it takes to get from that grassroots side to a discovery. I think a lot of companies are unable to do that. I think just because of demands from investors. They want to see drill holes relatively early on in the investment process, I guess. So I think major mining companies tend to understand this too, but I think the juniors have a harder time wrapping their heads around the amount of capital and the time it takes to really make a grassroots discovery. So we look to be aligned with our partners in that sense.
All right. Now, wanted to kind of go over some of your projects. You've got one of your flagship projects is right here in Quebec, Frotette. Can you give us a snapshot of where it's at and why it's figuring so prominently in your activity right now?
Yeah, so Frotette is it's in the Frotette Evans Greenstone Belt, northern Quebec, north of the Abitibi. We staked this project in 2017, which was about a year after we started Kenorland. We were a private company at the time. We brought in a partner early on, so it's Sumitomo Metal Mining, a Japanese mining company. They began funding exploration. We spent about 2 years doing greenfields, till sampling, big geochemical surveys. We identified a target, really grassroots target. No previous mineral occurrences or drilling. Put first holes into it in 2020. Made a discovery of a high-grade gold system. Today it has 90,000 meters of drilling into it. Starting to get bigger with every drill program. Really, we're still kind of in exploration mode, doing big step outs, looking for new zones within the system. But it's going really well. I think it's going to really kind of become a very significant project in Quebec, and we've got a very strong partner with Sumitomo Metal Mining. Kenorland currently owns 20%, in the joint venture, and so we're co-funding exploration right now, and Kenorland's the operator. But I think it has real potential to become an economic kind of producing mine one day. So that's what we're really excited about. I think you can see a lot of value there.
All right. And what are some of the most promising pipeline projects? I know you mentioned critical metals, battery metals. So I know you've got a little bit of that going on there as well.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of ground in Manitoba, focused on nickel. We do have exposure to lithium as well in Ontario and Quebec. But I think what's really interesting is we made another grassroots discovery this year in the northern Abitibi on the Shabistawan project, which is currently under option to Newmont, world's biggest gold producer. We drilled the first holes into it in the first quarter this year, and we hit a cyanite-hosted gold system. So again, total greenfields gold discovery, no mineral occurrences, no previous drilling there. So it's good to see the strategy pan out again and see that exploration success. We'll see how it moves forward, how it advances. We're hoping to get back out there and start drilling in the first quarter next year, but that's all dependent on Newmont, of course. But always exciting to make a new gold discovery. So.
Absolutely. And what are some of the significant company milestones you've reached this year, and what's on the horizon in the near term?
Well, this year has been an interesting year. We did exit one of our positions that we had a big equity stake in, a lithium deal. So the company became very well capitalized. We have about $24 million in the bank, so that was a huge milestone. I also think some of the deeper drilling on the Renault gold system, the one we have with Sumitomo, has shown us that we made some new vein discoveries about 1,000 meters below surface in the deepest parts of the system we've tested to date. So I was really excited about that. The system's really growing. It's showing big scale. So those are kind of probably the biggest milestones this year.
All right. And on the precious metal side, obviously we've seen it's been a tough environment for gold producers, for precious metals juniors in particular, although we have seen some investment on the critical metals. How does M&A look in Canada right now? Are you seeing maybe a bit of an uptick in activity, or when are you expecting to see things, to see resources coming back into the juniors?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, I think I'd say if we want to talk about critical metals and lithium, there's been a lot more activity in Australia than Canada. So I think a lot of people are noticing that and hoping some of that comes over to this side of the pond. But I think in the gold space, there's still a lot of people sitting on the sidelines here. But as gold price keeps ticking up, these things will get more and more expensive, and hopefully we'll see some movement.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, Zach.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I'm Ernest Hoffman for Kitco Mining. Keep it here for more ongoing coverage from Xplor 2023 in Montreal.
Kitco Mining's special coverage of Xplor 2023 is brought to you by Radisson Mining Resources.